Einstein was a figurehead leader in helping establish the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, which opened in 1925. Earlier, in 1921, he was asked by the biochemist and president of the World Zionist Organization, Chaim Weizmann, to help raise funds for the planned university. He made suggestions for the creation of an Institute of Agriculture, a chemical institute, and an Institute of Microbiology in order to fight the various ongoing epidemics such as malaria, which he called an evil that was undermining a third of the country's development. He also promoted the establishment of an Oriental Studies Institute to include language courses given in both Hebrew and Arabic. Einstein was not a nationalist and was against the creation of an independent Jewish state, which would be established without his help as Israel in 1948. He felt that the waves of arriving Jews of the Aliyah could live alongside existing Arabs in Palestine. Nevertheless, upon the death of Israeli President Weizmann in November 1952, Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion offered Einstein the largely ceremonial position of President of Israel at the urging of Ezriel Carlebach. The offer was presented by Israel's ambassador in Washington, Abba Eban, who explained that the offer embodies the deepest respect which the Jewish people can repose in any of its sons. Einstein wrote that he was deeply moved, but at once saddened and ashamed, that he could not accept it. Einstein spoke of his spiritual outlook in a wide array of original writings and interviews. He said he had sympathy for the impersonal pantheistic God of Baruch Spinoza's philosophy. He did not believe in a personal God who concerns himself with fates and actions of human beings, a view which he described as naive. He clarified, however, that "I am not an atheist," preferring to call himself an agnostic, or a deeply religious non-believer. When asked if he believed in an afterlife, Einstein replied, "No. And one life is enough for me." Einstein was primarily affiliated with non-religious humanist and ethical culture groups in both the UK and US. He served on the advisory board of the First Humanist Society of New York, and was an honorary associate of the Rationalist Association, which publishes New Humanist in Britain. For the 75th anniversary of the New York Society for Ethical Culture, he stated that the idea of ethical culture embodied his personal conception of what is most valuable and enduring in religious idealism. He observed, "Without ethical culture, there is no salvation for humanity." In a German-language letter to philosopher Erich Gutkind, dated the 3rd of January 1954, Einstein wrote, "The word God is for me nothing more than the expression and product of human weaknesses. The Bible a collection of honorable, but still primitive legends which are nevertheless pretty childish. No interpretation, no matter how subtle, can, for me, change this. For me, the Jewish religion, like all other religions, is an incarnation of the most childish superstitions. And the Jewish people to whom I gladly belong and with whose mentality I have a deep affinity have no different quality for me than all other people. ... I cannot see anything chosen about them." Einstein had been sympathetic toward vegetarianism for a long time. In a letter in 1930 to Hermann Huth, vice president of the German Vegetarian Federation, Deutsche Vegetarierbund, he wrote, "Although I have been prevented by outward circumstances from observing a strictly vegetarian diet, I have long been an adherent to the cause in principle. Besides agreeing with the aims of vegetarianism for aesthetic and moral reasons, it is my view that a vegetarian manner of living by its purely physical effect on the human temperament would most beneficially influence the lot of mankind." He became a vegetarian himself only during the last part of his life. In March 1954, he wrote in a letter, "So I am living without fats, without meat, without fish, but am feeling quite well this way. It almost seems to me that man was not born to be a carnivore." Einstein developed an appreciation for music at an early age. In his late journals he wrote, "If I were not a physicist, I would probably be a musician. I often think in music. I live my daydreams in music." I see my life in terms of music. I get most joy in life out of music.